Hey guys, welcome back. BDC Gear here. We're back with our Q&A. This is Season 3, Episode 10. Getting right into the first question. This one comes from Aditya Sharma. And they say, Claw of Horus gear is release or unrelease. Can I use this in online battle?
All right, so 2 questions, and the short answer is it's complicated. So the Claw of Horus has never been formally released. However, there's a pack available at one point, and if I recall correctly, it was the Suicide Squad pack that was the worst heroes ever for 100 and something. I think it was 100 US, it was 100 and something in Canada, and it included a chance at a legendary gear. So you could have gotten some of the Survivor gears, like League of Assassins, LexCorp, but one of those chances was the Claw of Horus. So the long answer is it's possible to have it legitimately, but given that you're asking us this question, I think there's a good chance that you're playing on a hacked account. I mean, let's face it, most people who drop $100 on content aren't likely to forget spending that kind of cash.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the same thing that we've talked about repeatedly, and it's worth watching our video from a while ago about will whatever get me banned. Because just because something's possible legitimately doesn't mean you won't get your account suspended for playing with it.
Yeah, and I think also your account must be hacked because you know if you don't have a hacked account that you got it legitimately, because there'd be no way to have it non-legitimately.
Right. So the Claw of Horus is unlikely, or uncommon I should say, uncommon. It was as unlikely a drop out of that pack, and rare enough that some people playing against you in multiplayer will think that you're cheating.
And in this case, they'd be right.
And a portion of those people will be motivated to report you to Warner Brothers support.
Yeah, and it might never come up. People might not check your gear, right? People might not notice, but it's possible that it would.
Right. And based on comments and threads in the official and unofficial forums, or is that fora? I don't know. That report is likely to trigger a ban. So it's maybe not an auto ban, but it's not the kind of risk that would be worth taking.
Yeah. So there we go. The next question comes from Jonathan Hung, and they say this was in response to our Q&A where we actually addressed a team layout for him.
Right.
Thinking about your answer some more, and remembering some of the characters that you've already augmented, what do you think about Elite 7 Static Tank, Elite 7 Raven Special Specialist, and Elite 7 Hawk Girl, basic damage dealer, extra damage when opponent is stared, or maybe Regime Green Lantern for passive at Elite 10. I might try this out in multiplayer to see how many points per match and whether the fights offer variety and are relatively quick due to the lower non-maxed out stats. Looking forward to future videos.
Alright, another good thoughtful question. Static is a great tank, but he's also great support for anyone else that's holding a Cloak of Destiny because of the guaranteed stun on his special one, on the unblocked special one. And he can also make a really good specialist, since with his passive and block specials, he can generate power even against Killer Frost. So the problem is, though, that if you gear him for specials, he makes a much crappier tank, and in order to actually be generating specials, he's got to actually eat a few specials even if he's blocking them. But here's the thing, if you gear him as a tank, he's still a pretty good specialist. And here's another thing you might want to watch. We've got a previous video about how there's a glitch that you can double his damage without actual gear, so he becomes an even better damage dealer. Like, he's really versatile. I love Static. He's a great card. Raven, your choice of Raven she's always good. She can be effective as a tank, a basic damage dealer, or a specialist, and it all depends on how you want to gear her. The last part, though, Hawk Girl is a bit of a waste here. Her passive is most useful. I mean, the extra damage and snaring them, I don't find that it doesn't really change the game much for me, but where it really changes it is the decreased cooldown time before you can tag somebody else in. So that's most useful on a team where the other cards benefit from quickly tagging in and out.
Yeah, and we've actually showed that before on a team with Rebirth Raven.
Right. So you can manage your power drain the most effectively that way.
Yeah, because you don't really have to worry too much about swapping out to whoever you need at any given time and still being able to swap back.
Because you know you're going to be able to pretty much.
In moments.
Right. Injustice 2 Superman is great because it refreshes his shield.
Yeah, that makes him, if you're doing it right, you can be pretty close to immune to specials, especially if you have like a way of power draining them.
Right. Luchador Bane, because he's got the stun on tag in chance and he's got the stun boosted damage.
Yeah, it's easy to just like whack somebody and kill them.
Right. Cassandra Cain Batgirl, because she has, as soon as she tags in, unblockable basically, unless you're doing something fancy like doing a multi-hit special, she's got the 25% health reduction.
Yeah, which I mean has diminishing returns, but it's still good.
Right. So the question then is your Raging Green Lantern, right? So how effective Raging Green Lantern as the third card? He's good, but how good he is depends a lot on how good you are with the other two. And it's going to sound kind of funny, and I'll explain myself, but the better you are with the other two, the better Raging Green Lantern is. And I think this is a principle we've talked about before. We did this really early on with how to build an MP team, and the principle still holds true. You can gear any card to be an effective tank. Because of the gears that are available that increase block effectiveness. Now you've got Astro Harness that you can be invulnerable. You could have 2 4th row gear sets to make somebody revive after they lose all their health. So you can make any card, any guy, any character effective as a tank by gearing them right, but it's hard to make someone into a good basic damage dealer or good specialist if they aren't already, if they don't have some feature that makes them that way already.
Yeah.
So if you're going with Static as a tank and Raven's your specialist, you're working with an unbalanced team that has some vulnerabilities. So, for example, facing a team that has special evaders, you're missing the high basic damage output that would be effective against it, and you can't make Raging Green Lantern that as your silver. Facing Killer Frost, Raven's going to have lower damage output because she's, as a specialist, that's where her damage is coming from, and she's going to be doing fewer specials.
Yeah.
Now, Raging Green Lantern has a decent one-hit special 1 for dealing with Raven, but if he's going to be weaker than your teammates, you're going to have trouble using it if your opponent's Raven is a little bit stronger, and you trigger your passive a couple times, and all of a sudden you've got a much harder fight.
Yeah, so really what you need is something that fills in the gaps. The team composition is solid enough for general fighting, but you need to think of the specific stuff that's gonna stop you up, because really that's the important part. It's not your average fight. It's basically the hardest fight that you might face.
Yeah.
With kind of average enemy matchups. That's actually what you need to consider.
Sort of the not so special scenarios.
Yeah.
They're specific characters, but they're situations that come up enough that it can get frustrating if you're not ready to deal with it.
Yeah, so that's the kind of, I guess, hidden element to team comp that works a little separate from just picking people who are good on paper.
Right. Yeah. So I guess we've still got some fights left in this ultimate battle.
Yeah.
And we're out of answers. Well, technically we're out of questions and answers. So maybe we'll just play this out a little bit. We've got 2 more fights, and I think maybe a bit of commentary on our current Q&A team, which we switched out because I think what I'd like to do is actually give people a break from Elseworld Flash and Containment Doomsday, so that when we come back to it with sort of a discussion about why they're maybe the second best multiplayer team, at least in my not so humble opinion, then they've been gone long enough that you can miss them a little bit.
I feel like any solid grinding team, almost just for nostalgia purposes, has to have the Flash in it.
Yes. Because honestly, Flash, the Bronze Flash in my set of 3 was my favorite character. I was so sort of caught up in the idea of spending some bucks to get the Silver Flash.
Yeah.
Some real power credits and buy them directly.
It was 35,000, I think, right?
It was something that seemed ridiculously high when I was first grinding Bonus Battle 1.
If I remember right, the Silver Flash was 35,000. I guess we could always check separately, but...
Oh, wow. All right, so this other team, they've unbalanced it, so their Deadshot is way stronger than the other guys. So the special 1 unblocked did not clear them, but look,
But now it's nothing.
Yeah, they're coming in with pretty much no health.
An unbalanced team is workable for offense, but not a great idea.
It's not that effective.
It's workable at lower levels, I think.
Yeah. Oh, so that's not bad. 12 seconds. With this Flashpoint team, I'm really curious about how it'll perform when we get them to Elite 7 and maybe even Elite 10, because clearly has some weaknesses. We don't have a great counter for Raven except just triggering her passive a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay because we've got two big damage guys, right? The Deathstroke can be big damage if you gear him as a special specialist and use special one like we do. And with his bonus attack from his teammates. And Flashpoint Batman is obviously our huge damage dealer. But technically with the destructive blows, any one of the three is a pretty effective brawler.
Yeah.
And you can see that because the fights are actually pretty short.
Mm-hmm. So this is an example of a team that we've just kind of brute forced our way past the Raven issue, where we don't really have a plan for her. The plan is just to be good, and deal a lot of damage. But that's actually a valid plan when you can just deal so much damage.
And what I like about the Ultra Flash team, in some ways better than this, even though this is a really effective team, is that they're not all the same world, right? So Flashpoint, there's only 3 Flashpoint characters. They have team synergy kind of passives, so it's almost like Warner Bros. Is telling you this is a team you should play with.
Mm-hmm. So it's more fun to think outside the lines because it feels more like something that you're actually thinking up, even if other people use the same team.
Yeah, I actually see Ultra Flash and Team Doomsday together a lot.
We'd like to think that's us. Maybe not.
Okay. And that's it.
There we go. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.